We're not moving on until you tell me 3 things. Now let me back up a little bit here and I'll explain. About 6 years ago, I was given a promotion within the business and it was a step up to be a sales leader. Now we looked at the existing sales team and unfortunately a couple of people had to go. So we're in the process of hiring 2 new people. One thing I'm very grateful for is that the sales director that gave me the promotion, he saw the potential in me, but he still knew that I needed help, especially with the interview process. Hiring people is one of the toughest things to do, and I definitely learnt that the hard way. So he said he'd step in the second round. I went through the CVs, filtered whatever out and did the first round with people. He stepped in the second. Now the sales guy is sat opposite like you are now. I'm sat here, the sales director sat here, and he comes out with, so tell me 3 weaknesses about yourself. Oh, it's horrible, isn't it? Who wants to come out with 3 weaknesses? Who wants to reveal themselves like that? It might lose you the job. You might think it's old school, you might think it's old fashioned, but there was something that happened here, and it took a long time to get there, but we got there in the end. It got so bad that the sales director said, look, we're not moving on until you tell me these 3 things. The guy didn't know what to say, he was sweating bullets. And finally, we got there in the end, and he came out with his 3 weaknesses. And what I want to make clear here is that self-awareness is so important. It's not all about what your strengths are, it's about what your weaknesses are. And you have 2 choices here when it comes to weaknesses. You can either work on them, or you can accept what they are and focus on something else. I know what my weaknesses are. I'm stubborn, I procrastinate, and I look too far ahead. That's me, that's what I am. Accept it. This guy in the end though, it took 10 minutes to get there. And again, you might think it's old fashioned, you might think it's not a good way to do it, but he was so grateful in the end that he was able to work out what his weaknesses are. And really they weren't that bad. You wouldn't believe that one of them was procrastination, would you? We got there in the end, but emotional intelligence is made up of 4 pillars, and one of them is self-awareness. And if you can be self-aware about yourself, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, why you do what you do, you're going to become a much better salesperson because of it. Emotional intelligence is going to be the biggest differentiator between whether you keep your job or not. I'm putting it out there. Some people have been saying it. I've been saying it for a long time. EI is going to overtake everything. Sales and the process, the salesperson is going to step in, and it's getting less and less and less when they're involved. It's the emotional side of it, and that's where you need to be so good at what you do. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I'm trying to spread as much value as possible. If you think people will benefit from it, tag them into it. If you've heard some horror stories, or if you've been in these interview processes where you've been asked questions like that, let's hear the stories. Comment in the box below. But that's it for today. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you tomorrow.